Story. There's a stranger in my childhood home, but my parents don't see him. It had been 9 years since I stepped foot in my parents' house. Not because of some falling out. Life just happened. College, then work, then a failed relationship that made me forget what home even meant. But when my mother called to say Dad had been slipping, forgetting keys, repeating questions, wandering the backyard at night, I packed a bag and caught a red-eye flight back to the house I grew up in. Nothing had changed. The cracked walkway still creaked underfoot. The porch still smelled faintly of rain and dried leaves. And the wind chime, the one I made in 3rd grade, still jingled that same eerie hollow tune. My mom greeted me with a long hug. My dad smiled vaguely, then asked if I was the new neighbor. She brushed it off. He's just tired. You'll see. Once you're settled, it'll all come back to him. That night I carried my suitcase upstairs, turned the corner toward my old bedroom, and stopped. The door was open, the lights were on, and someone was already inside. He sat on the bed, my bed, flipping through an old photo album. He looked about my age. Same building, same haircut I had in college. But there was something off, like a blurry photo printed too many times. He looked up, stared at me, but didn't say a word. I backed out, heart pounding, and hurried downstairs. "Mom?" I said, breathless. "Who's that guy in my room?" She blinked, confused. "What guy?" "There's someone upstairs, in my old room." "Oh," she said, smiling faintly. "You mean your room?" My blood went cold. "You just said it was my room." She frowned, as if I had confused her. "Of course it's your room. That's what I said." I didn't press further that night. Too tired, too unsettled. Slept on the living room couch with the sound of the fridge humming like static. The next morning, he was still there. At breakfast, he sat across the table from me, wore one of my old shirts, ate eggs my mother had cooked like it was the most normal thing in the world. Dad said, "Glad you're home, son." I looked up startled. He wasn't talking to me. He was looking straight at the stranger, and the stranger smiled. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, that my parents were confused, that maybe this was some cousin they forgot to tell me about. A guest, a neighbor's son, something, anything. I tried asking, but my mom just tilted her head. "What do you mean? Who is he? That's you." That night I checked my suitcase. Several items were gone. My favorite hoodie, a book I'd been reading, even my old wristwatch, the one I wore through high school. I searched the house, found them in his room, on his nightstand, in his laundry pile. He even had a framed photo of me, younger, with my parents at the lake. But in the photo, my face had been scratched out. His was drawn over mine in pencil. Same pose, same smile, but not me. I confronted my mom, told her something was wrong. She nodded slowly, sympathetically. "You've been under a lot of stress," she said. "Maybe try resting. Your room is always open." I didn't have the strength to tell her my room was already taken. I started locking the guest room door at night. It wasn't much. Just a flimsy bolt I installed myself. But it gave me the illusion of safety. Still, each morning, I found the door slightly ajar. Nothing stolen. Just opened, like someone wanted to remind me, "You're not really home." My parents grew colder. Not cruel. Just forgetful. They'd cook meals and forget to set a place for me. Talk about family memories I had never lived. Refer to my graduation, my broken arm, my piano recital. All real events except they weren't mine. They were his. One night, I heard laughter from upstairs. I crept out of bed, padded into the hallway. Voices, two of them, my father and the stranger. They were laughing like old friends, sharing drinks, clinking glasses. The light from the room spilled into the hallway. I leaned closer, and then my name, spoken like a curse. I heard the stranger say, "He still thinks he's the real one." The next day, my handwriting had changed. I noticed it while jotting down a grocery list. Letters curled where they never used to. Loops thinner. Angles sharper. I checked old notebooks in the attic. They didn't match. I wasn't writing like myself anymore. Or maybe the house was rewriting me. I dug through boxes, old report cards, birthday cards, school projects. My name was there, first and last. But the photos had changed. In everyone, I was just out of frame, or turned away, or blurred. And in my place, smiling, always smiling, was him. I tried showing the pictures to my mom. She squinted, then smiled. "Oh, look," she said. "You were so cute back then." "That's not me. Don't be silly." She turned the photo over, on the back, in her handwriting. My son, age 8. But the name written wasn't mine. I confronted him that night, cornered him in the hallway outside the bathroom. "You're not me." He looked at me, calm, almost amused. "Of course I'm not." "Then what are you?" He smiled. Something remembered, and walked past. I told myself I'd leave, book a flight, get out. But each time I packed, something went missing. Wallet, keys, passport, gone. Then I found them, in his room, again, tucked neatly into drawers like they belonged to him. When I tried to take them, he just watched. Didn't stop me, didn't speak. But later that night, they were gone again. I stopped sleeping, started writing notes to myself. Who I was, where I was born, what I remembered. I taped them to the mirror, to the fridge, to the inside of my pillowcase. Each morning, one or two were missing, sometimes replaced with different handwriting, same words, but not mine. I started sleeping in the attic. The guest room didn't feel safe anymore. My parents barely noticed. They knocked once the first night, called my name with a hesitance that didn't sound quite like them. When I didn't respond, they left a plate of food outside the attic door. But the next night, there were 2 plates, one for me and one for him. The attic was cramped, dusty, cold, but at least it was mine. Mostly. Until I found the photo, taped to the underside of a beam. A childhood picture of me, maybe age 10, sitting on the back porch, holding a flashlight. Except the date scribbled on the back read April 3rd, 2001. And I didn't live here in 2001. I was born in 1994. I would have been 7, not 10. The face in the photo, almost mine, not quite. I confronted my father the next morning, asked him how old I was when we moved in. He stared at me blankly. "We've always lived here." "No," I said. "We moved in when I was 5. I remember the boxes, the blue couch, the tree house out back that wasn't finished." He frowned. "We don't have a tree house." I went outside. The tree was gone. Just grass now. Flat, unmarked, like no one had ever dug posts there at all. That night I heard movement in the walls. Software steady, I pressed my ear to the plaster and heard whispering, my name, over and over, in my own voice. In the morning, I went to the basement. I don't know why. Instinct maybe. Dust hung in thick layers. The light bulb swung gently. Even though there was no breeze at the far end, something caught my eye. A pile of old clothes. My clothes. Jeans, jackets, even underwear. Everything that had gone missing from my suitcase. Folded, stacked, clean. I picked up my college sweatshirt and smelled detergent. Someone had washed it. Next to the pile, a notebook. Mine, except not quite. The handwriting wasn't mine. The words were. It was a journal, my journal. Except every entry began with Dave, X. Still not sure he notices I'm here. I flipped to the back. The final entry read, he sleeps in the attic now. I think they like me better. I ran upstairs, straight into my old bedroom. He was there, sitting at the desk, smiling. My voice came out in a whisper. Why are you doing this? He tilted his head. You left. That doesn't mean you get to take my place. He blinked. Someone had to. Then he stood. And for the first time, I saw my own face, perfectly mirrored, except the eyes. His were too still, too deep, too empty, like memory without soul. I remember the things you forgot, he said. Then he closed the door in my face and locked it. After that, they stopped acknowledging me. My mother walked past me in the hallway like I wasn't there. My father looked through me. At dinner, 3 plates. Only 2 filled. They laughed together. 8 shared stories I'd never heard. I stood in the doorway and watched the life that used to be mine, now occupied by someone else, someone wearing my skin. I stopped speaking, stopped trying. Instead, I listened, waited. And one night I heard it. A voice from upstairs. My voice, crying. I followed the sound. It came from the attic, not the one I had been sleeping in. The other one, the crawl space above the old linen closet. I pulled the cord, climbed the ladder. Dust, cobwebs, old boxes. And in the center, sitting cross-legged on the floor, a boy, no older than 10. He looked up at me. Same hair, same eyes, same scar above the brow from falling off a bike at age 7. He opened his mouth and said, I've been up here so long. I dropped to my knees. Who are you? He smiled sadly. I think I'm what's left. Left of what? Of you. He pointed behind me, and I turned. There were dozens of boxes, each labeled. First kiss. A math test. Our dog's funeral. College rejection. All memories stored, filed, forgotten. I opened one. Inside, a Polaroid. Me at 12, crying after losing my backpack. A scent, grass and sweat and fear. A sound, my dad yelling my name. It all rushed back. I gasped. The boy nodded. He doesn't have these. I opened another. My childhood bedroom. My journal. A late night whisper to myself. I hope they don't forget me. The boy put his hand on mine. If you want it back, you have to remember. I climbed down, walked into the kitchen. They were all there. My mother, my father, the stranger, eating, smiling, laughing. I stepped into the light. I remember the treehouse, I said. They stopped. I remember the dog's name, Maximum. He died under the porch during the storm. No one moved. I remember falling, the scar, the scream, the hospital room painted yellow. My mother blinked. My father frowned. The stranger stood. You're not supposed to be here anymore, he said. I stepped closer. I never left. You did. He lunged, but I didn't run. I closed my eyes and remembered everything. When I opened them, the kitchen was empty. Just me, silence, dust in the air, and the faint smell of lemon soap. That was 3 days ago. Now I live in the storage room. No one else is here. But at night, I hear footsteps upstairs. And sometimes, I hear my own voice, laughing like someone else is remembering me.